I'm Danielle, and welcome to This Enchanted House. With everything going on, I thought today would be a good day to talk about meditation and how to get started in meditation um, as a practice. I think a lot of people get intimidated by meditation because we have in this mind our vision of this Zen Buddhist master who's one with the universe and his mind is completely cleared and he's achieved this Zen like state. And while that's part of meditation and of specifically part of Zen Buddhism, that's not necessarily all meditation is, and that's not necessarily even the end goal for people who practice meditation. Meditation is a very broad practice and is present in lots of different cultures and lots of different forms. So, some history on the word meditation itself is from a Latin root, meditate is from a Latin root, which means to think or to ponder. And it's something that, like I said, is present in a lot of different religions, a lot of different cultures. Like, for instance, Christianity has a very long history of using meditation. Medieval Christian mystics would often isolate themselves in a room in a church, so they were in a holy place, and they would spend their days in the cell, eschewing all contact and meditating on God and the Bible. And even more recently, one of my first meditation teachers was actually a Catholic priest back when I was a teenager, and it's where I got really introduced to meditation and how to practice meditation. And he was a really great teacher, and I learned a lot. So, but I think the thing to remember is that meditation takes all sorts of different forms and can happen in all kinds of different ways. But and you can set your own goals, but generally the idea of meditation is to slow down, to relax yourself, and to let your brain recharge, recoup, but also to think, to let it help process some of those thoughts in a way that's not coming at you all this way and you have to do this right now and solve it, but to maybe just acknowledge them and to categorize them. So let's talk about how to meditate. The truth is you can meditate anywhere, in any situation. When I worked as a substitute teacher in high schools, teachers have a prep hour, which is for them to do, grade papers, contact parents, do the other work they need to get done to teach. Though a lot of that honestly now there's not enough. But for me, because I was a substitute, I didn't have to do any of that. And if I wasn't covering for another class, which a lot of time I was, I'd have that hour break and I would take 10-15 minutes just to kind of recharge myself and meditate at the school. I usually would turn off all the lights because usually schools have fluorescent lights, and that's, I find, not conducive. I find it's a little bright and glaring. And then I'd turn off the lights, take 10-15 minutes, put myself in the corner somewhere, meditate, and carry on for the rest of the day. But if you want to try starting out, it helps to find what your kind of ideal setting is. So for me, my favorite spot to meditate in the house is, if you are following me on Instagram or my blog, you know that this fire screen, this fireplace up there is my altar. I find this a really nice, relaxing place. The floor is nice and carpeted, so I'm comfortable here. You may find you need some cushions, or you might want something a little cushy. You might want something a little sturdier. You might want some back support. You might like a chair. So just figure out a space in your house that you're comfortable. Another consideration is light. Like when I was in the classroom, I turned off the fluorescent because it was too bright. But here I get lots of great natural light. So I tend to like having light. But if you're photosensitive, you might appreciate something darkening the room. Another consideration is distractions. Actually, filming this video, my son has interrupted me twice now, but that's okay. But make sure your family knows that you're going to meditate. Turn off all the ringers on your devices. Now, in terms of sound otherwise, though, you might like complete quiet, which I usually do. Other people like to have like a calming music. Some people like drumming. The rhythm helps them get into a meditative state. So you can play around with it, play around with where you're, so, try different areas of your house, try different lighting situations, try different noise situations. Also, try different positions. I prefer to sit cross-legged. Some people prefer to stand. Some people prefer, like I said, sit in a chair. You can also lay down. Though here's my warning for if you lay down. If you're getting really relaxed and you're laying down and you're kind of tired, there's a good chance you'll fall asleep. Not that it's necessarily a bad thing. I sometimes use the techniques I use when I meditate to help myself fall asleep. You can have some really interesting dreams because you've gone into this really relaxed state. But just be warning, for some people, if you want to be able to wake up afterwards, laying down is not necessarily the best, but try it out. Try it, see what works for you. So you've got figured out where you're at, what you're surrounding yourself with. You've eliminated things that are distractions, things that are going to pull you out and say, oh, I have to pay attention to this right now. So getting into a meditative state, there's lots of different ways to do it. I personally like counting. I used to count from 1 to 100. Now I count from backwards from 100 because I got really good at counting to 100 and I go really fast. I'd have to make myself slow down. But if I'm counting back, it's a little more brain work. You want something, in general, you want something that's simple and repetitive that'll help you get into that state. So I like counting. Some people use like thinking about the colors of the rainbow, going red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, over and over again. That's where mantras come in, where you're repeating something over and over again. You're repeating a phrase over and over again. You may have heard comes from Eastern meditation practices, and it's a sound and it has a resonance and it helps you get into it. Let's see what else is there. Some people like having physical activities. Like we've mentioned drumming. Some people actually drum because that's a repetitive activity. I found people who use stim things like fidget spinners because I have a lot of people say, oh, I can't meditate, I can't sit still. Sometimes you need to occupy your body and your mind. So sometimes if you're doing something like people who knit and crochet or a lot of those lap crafts that they do and they say, oh, I do that while I'm watching TV. Well, because they can do it and pay attention to TV. Sometimes doing that without the TV will get you into a meditative state. So there's lots of different things to try. Another thing that people talk a lot about meditation is breathing, and breathing is a way to get you into that state. A lot of yoga breaths or can help. I actually do also while I'm counting. Breathe. I like a diaphragm breath. I like to go. I had a physical therapist trying to call it belly breathing. What you do is you pull out your stomach, which pulls out your diaphragm, which really fills up your lungs. Go. And doing that repetitively can help too. There's also what's called a fourfold breath or square breath, where you breathe in for a count of 4, hold it for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, hold it for a count of 4, breathe in for a count of 4. So something like this. So there's lots of ways to explore breathing and finding something that works for you. And then the idea is to get into a meditative state. And you're like, another thing I hear a lot is, I can't stop thinking when I'm in a meditative state. Well, that's okay. And the best thing to do when the thought comes in your head is to acknowledge it. Say, I have thought about this, and let it go. So sitting in a meditative state. Oh, I need to go to the grocery store tomorrow. Okay, I will remember to put that on my list later. Let it go. And that's a thought process that takes a lot of practice. But if you're doing this other thing, where if you're counting or if you're breathing and you're concentrating on that, you can say, I'm right now concentrating on this, and I will take care of that later. And that's how you sort of empty your mind. And the idea is to be in a relaxed place. And then the next question is, all right, I'm in my meditative state. Now what do I do? For some people, that's enough just to be in that kind of quiet place where you're not your brain's not all throwing all its thoughts at you, where you can just kind of appreciate existing. There's also what's called, you could also take a meditative journey, which is, all right, you've got let's just let those thoughts flow and see where they take you. It's very in that calming place, where we're supposed to and just let them come and see what happens. Another possibility is that you can do a guided meditation, which honestly I would suggest before you try doing the meditative journey, is this. In a guided meditation, you are following a script, and you are visualizing this script. Sometimes you can find people who've recorded them, and you can listen to them while you meditate, or you can read it beforehand, and then when you're in that meditative state, say, okay, now I am initiating this, and I'm going to follow what's in this visualization. I've written 3 guided meditations that I've posted online, and I will link them below. So, and like I said, the biggest thing is just experiment, try it. And like I said, and it doesn't have to be like a big long session, like 10, 15 minutes is honestly a really long meditation session, and it can really help center and ground you for the rest of your day if you do it in the morning, or you can do it at night and kind of use it as a release and relaxation to get yourself ready for the next day. Or you can do it in the middle day as sort of a recharge to say, okay, I'm feeling drained, I'm going to need to pull some stuff back in. And I think with everyone, especially right now, if you're watching this in the future, we're all stuck at home thanks to the coronavirus. Now's a great time to try it and practice it and develop it. You can experiment. You've got a little extra maybe time around the house. If you're working from home and you need a little bit of a break, it's a great way to take a quick break and get your head back in the game. If you have kids, try to teach. Kids can actually meditate too. They sometimes need you to help them, especially with guided meditation, but you can do that too. So there's lots of ways to do it, lots of ways to explore. There's a lot to read online. I'm going to try to post some extra links below that are helpful, and I will see you. I hope this video was helpful, and I will see you guys around. See you later.